The first time travel movie, I fucked it up already. The first movie featuring a time loop that I could find is Repeat Performance from 1947, about a woman who gets to relive the whole year of 1946. I haven't seen it, so that was just a cute intro, not really a review of the movie. I'll probably see it eventually. This movie is about Last Day of Summer and also time loop movies in general because I like them. Last Day of Summer is a Nickelodeon original movie from 2007 that I watched as a child, and I'm gonna watch it again. It's fine. That's pretty much it. It's a pretty standard kids movie. The filmmaking is there. The story is there. There were a few parts I want to talk about, but not really a lot. So our main character, Luke, is dreading going into middle school on the last day of summer. That's the name of the... Ah! There's a shitty early 2000s pop punk music, which was a trip. He's hanging out with his friends. They make fart jokes. There's a gopher, a squirrel. I don't know what it is, but it's clearly a ripoff of Caddyshack, which also had like a animal that was stuff. I haven't even seen Caddyshack, but I know it's ripping it off. So they go to the Labor Day festival that's going on. And they're living the life, dealing with girls, riding the rides, throwing up, vomiting, and then they go down to their local skate park. This movie has a whole thing about skateboarding. I guess kids were still skateboarding in 2007, but it's just a weird thing for like all three of these kids love skateboarding, and everyone thinks that skateboarding, it seems like everyone in this movie loves skateboarding, which is, it's just weird. I can't tell if this movie is memorable or if I just watched it a shitload of times as a kid, because I remember a lot of this movie. Like, I remember this whole discussion about this one of the kids wants to eat this burger, this half-eaten burger that's on the table, and he's like, well, if you eat it from the side that's not eaten, you don't get germs on you. But the whole time I was thinking, like, so what do you do when you reach, like, do you just stop before you get to the side that's been bitten into? Like, they never explained that. I remember thinking that as a kid and being weirded out by it. There's no time to explain that because all of a sudden these weird emo bullies show up. One of them is named Meat. That's not a joke. The thing about this movie is that it is a complete ripoff of Groundhog Day. In this movie, he keeps getting his head, like, he keeps getting head injuries. Like he gets the shit beat out of him.
Heads up. What do you mean?
Hey, Harvey.
What?
And no matter how hard he tries, he keeps getting head injuries.
What?
How's that? Ta-da!
Hey, Harvey. What? Never mind.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Now you got Harvey? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Woo.
They're doing this big talent show at the fair. The reason I say there's not much to say about this movie is because most of it is pretty standard time loop fare. Like, if you've seen one time loop movie, you've pretty much seen Last Day of Summer. Tries to convince people by predicting things that are happening that are seemingly random. Eventually learns his lesson and stops the loop. And I have to bring this up because this was ridiculous. I know it's a kid's movie, right? I could probably tear into this movie if I really wanted to, but it's a kid's movie. It has good heart. But this is like one of the worst bits of writing I've ever seen. Like even for a kid's movie, it is mind-bogglingly terrible. So there's this scene where Luke helps his like neighbor or something. She's a little girl. She's learning how to ride her bike, and he helps her out, teaches her a bit. And she's like, "I'll remember that."
I'll try to remind you tomorrow. Oh, I won't forget. I promise. Oh, yes, you will. I promise.
I'm stuck in a Kafkaesque nightmare. So, a couple loops later, where he learns his lesson and makes things better and all that, after he realizes he has to play now, that the loop is over and he has to play in the talent show, he gets a little stage fright. He's scared and he needs a little motivation. So, what is the thing that gives him motivation? The little girl shows up riding her bike. She says, "You taught me." And she even references a line that he said to her.
Thanks for teaching me the secret. I can really do it now. You remember? Sure.
She just remembers the previous loops. Does she remember all of them? Is this little girl fucking omniscient? How does she remember that? I've never seen a more blatant example of a movie breaking its own rules than in this. And what gets me is that it's pointless. Like, I don't get why he had to have this scene of him being scared of going on stage. It doesn't really add much, and it's a giant I don't even know what to call this. So they get on stage, they end with a generic song. That's not too bad. And then he wakes up the next day. Yeah, that's last day of summer. I'm surprised I talked about it for this long, to be honest. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go run through a brief list, some time loop movies that I have seen. Let's run through them. I don't know if this counts, but I talked about time lapse in a video before. It's a very good movie. I think you should check it out. I'm not even going to say anything about it. Source Code is a fun little action romp. It's basically a time loop movie, but also an action movie. A lot of people don't like the ending. It's very divisive. But I don't really mind it. I watched Haunter because I like Vincenzo Natali's work, but this ain't it, man. Yeah, it's fine. He's clearly very good at constructing mystery stories. There's really nothing to it. It's like you learn the mystery and that's really it. It's like, oh, that's neat. Move on. Just, like there's just not a lot to it. There's not much character-wise going on. Or Edge of Tomorrow / Live Die Repeat is also an action movie. It's fine enough, but I don't think it's as good as Source Code. I think Source Code is superior. Also, I don't know why this movie was called Edge of Tomorrow. Everyone remembers it as Live, Die, Repeat. And I think on the Blu-ray release, it's just titled Live, Die, Repeat, which is a much better title. You know, it's Edge of Tomorrow is just so generic. Like, it could be the title for any action movie. Happy Death Day is a time loop movie, but it's a slasher. And it's a fun, silly little horror comedy. But ultimately it's forgettable. I've not seen Happy Death Day 2, but what I find interesting about it is that it's repeating the same time loop from the first movie. That sounds interesting. Oh no, you can see my fucking light. I'm a shitty filmmaker. And the one I've saved for last, the one that everyone mentions when talking about this genre, the one that popularized this genre, the one that it's Groundhog Day. Here's why Groundhog Day is the best time loop movie. 1, the loop is actually a metaphor for something. Every other time loop movie I've seen, the time loop is just what the story is. Like, it's just a thing that happens in the story. But in Groundhog Day, it's actually a metaphor for feeling stuck in life, which gives it an emotional weight and it makes it relatable. Like, I think most people have had a period where they feel stuck. 2, his antics are memorable. Him memorizing the answers to Jeopardy, him punching the shit out of Ned Ryerson is really memorable. 3, the characters are well realized. Bill Murray's character arc in this movie is like the definition of a well-realized character arc. It is so gradual and so meticulous where you don't even notice the little changes, but he truly becomes a different person by the end of the film. And not to mention Bill Murray himself, number 5, he gives an excellent performance. Like, it would have been so easy for this character to come off too unlikable or too charismatic. I think Bill Murray is great at playing the asshole who's fun to watch. No other time loop movie that I've seen has the emotional resonance of the scene from Groundhog Day where Bill Murray just goes around town making everyone happy. What a great scene. What a great movie. If you haven't seen Groundhog Day, go and see it. And then there's About Time. Less said about that, the better. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. What is there to say? Thanks for watching. The first time travel movie